coming off of last season, maybe you can talk about what most excites you about this 2023 team and the personnel that you have coming back. Certainly, I'm sure excited about the guys you have next to you today, too.
Yeah, always excited to get going in August. You know, we're summer's been over for a while. It's exciting to have this just right around the corner, and so we want to build off of last season. It felt like we made some really big strides, especially offensively. I thought it was really critical that we finished down the stretch with some success on offense. I felt like last season we started the season defensively strong enough to win more games, and we ended up winning. And so to be able to have the offense, I feel like catching up is something that I was excited to see last year as we close things out. I'm looking forward to starting this year, kind of having some offensive success in the rearview mirror, and something that we can go back to.
We'll just go down the line maybe first, and then if anyone wants to jump in. But DJ, returning from a year where you were able to break some records, and as Coach said, the offense made a lot of strides. What's maybe the next step for you guys as an offense?
Just like keep playing how we were last season, just keep the success going into next season, and just focus on always getting that 1% better every day on the offensive side of the ball.
I think I heard you say something on Max Country when Parker had a chance to interview you about trying to get to 34 points every game. How did that come about as a goal for your offense?
We had Coach Nelson come in, and he did statistics on us, and I don't remember the exact percentage-wise, but it was a very high percentage. If we get 34 points, we win. Do you remember 80%-ish?
It's higher than that.
Okay, yeah, something higher than 80.
We averaged 33 points per game the last 6 games of the season last year, and so we know that we know that we're capable of that, and so we just want to eclipse that moving into next season.
Mm-hmm. About with Michael Grindey, linebacker here, I think last year's the first full season as a starter at Concordia, and your first team all-conference. What did you take away from last year that maybe makes you more prepared and more even better equipped going forward?
I just think being with the guys, we have a lot of guys returning, especially up front, the defensive line and some at linebacker, and being able to play with them and what that's like, and just recognizing how we operate, and what makes us click. But I just love the competitive side. I think that was to be able to play in those games and to be really competitive, to get after it. That I'm really excited to do that again this season.
Mm-hmm. How do you go from playing rugby at Creighton on a club team to Concordia playing football? How did that process work?
Oh man, well, you want the whole story? How long do you have? So I played high school ball, and then I went and played rugby at Creighton University. Wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, so I actually went home to Arizona for a year and worked and coached high school football. And that's when I rediscovered my love for football, and pretty much just ended up kind of walking on Coach Daberkow's doorstep, and was like, hey, I haven't played in 4 years, but I'd love to play. So, but rugby was great at Creighton. I loved playing rugby. But I'm really glad to be back playing football again.
So what kind of skills do you take from rugby to the football field? I mean, I know there's similar things, but there's enough differences.
I think, the biggest thing, just being hard-nosed and sticking your nose into a tackle, that was a big thing. So I played flanker, and flanker was pretty much the guy who tackles a lot of people, and just takes them head on. And so that was a huge thing. But just the toughness in general too. When things get tough in football games, playing rugby really helped out with that, because it's no pads, and so I'm used to pain, right? I'm used to pain, and I'm used to kind of sticking it on guys, and so that's kind of.
So you don't back away from the hits, is what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I would say. Yeah.
I got a question. Both DJ and Michael, you guys both are the leaders on your side. One of the leaders on your sides of the ball. Just interested if you could talk both about the leadership roles that both of you have, and how you want to see that work in 23.
You go first.
My leadership role, I'd say I don't really like to be the vocal leader on the offense. I just expect people to show up and do their thing rather than I have to get on them. I think if you're playing college football, you should not need that motivation to another player to get on you. But if you do, like some people have days that are off. So if you need, I can do it, but I'd rather just show up, put your work in, and go home.
Quiet leader, right?
Yeah.
Is that a good way to put it?
Lead by example.
Yeah.
So I'm super loud.
So we got two sides of the same coin.
Pretty much, right? No, I've learned kind of over the years to like bring people along with you, right? And like to bring people along, and I don't always need to be the one talking, and I think everybody playing college football is passionate about the game, and now as a leader for me, it's to bring that out of them, and let them roll and let them be more like leaders of the team and guys that will get people going. But I love the game of football, and so I'm very, very enthusiastic, and very, very loud. So you'll probably hear me before you say it.
I know there's a lot that goes in, to a season and all of that. You play a 10-game schedule. You play every one of these teams in here. You've beaten every one of these teams in a season. You've also lost them all last year. I guess how much does that kind of burn to you guys a little bit, and maybe want you to take down the teams that are in this room too?
It burns a lot since these are our in-state rivals, every team in here. So we always just want to beat them and take it to them.
No comment. No, I'm kidding. I'm excited to play ball, and I enjoy the competition that these teams bring. So I'm excited to get after it again.
One thing that's worth mentioning too is it's not just on the field competition. Like there's a lot of recruiting that happens, and so if you have, there's a lot of familiar faces when you go visit high schools or living rooms, and so you have to own whatever happened the last time you played them. So we swept the conference 2 years ago in state. Last year we didn't do what we had to do to beat these teams. But just seeing some of the helmets and the logos, we were having a conversation earlier, gets the temperature up a little bit, and I think that's all right. We're really excited for this season.
Who's putting this helmet on first and going after somebody?
It might be Jake.
Let's go. Yeah.
So I know, Coach, you have a theme every year, a theme verse that you've selected. Have you picked that out for this season yet?
Yeah, there's a bunch that we pick from. We talk about our values and accountability, toughness, and authenticity all have biblical bases to them. But we're going to talk a lot about this passage from Jeremiah about a tree next to a river. And if you're rooted in the right things, being anchored in that, you don't have to worry about the things that are going to happen in life if you have a sturdy foundation.
Yeah. So which verse is that?
We refer to that as having an anchor in who God made you to be in Christ. So it's I think it's in Jeremiah 17.
Okay, I'll have to look. I have a verse going through my head, but I don't know if it's the same.
Yeah,
one.
no,
it might be out of the Psalms that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it might be. I'm pretty sure the one that I'm referring to is in Jeremiah.
Okay.
I don't know the exact reference. So
I guess you
haven't
could Google
baked
it.
haven't baked it out all the way.
You have your T-shirts all made and everything?
Not yet.
That's not the top priority right now. Oh, yeah.
So when does practice start for you guys?
August 7th.
Same as high school. Okay. So you mentioned the recruiting part. Talk about your incoming kids. Who do you have that you're looking for to maybe make an impact, make a splash this season?
Yeah, it's hard to. So until you're working with guys, it's really hard to. You get to know them as best you can during the recruiting process, but really it's a 4-year program where we get to know guys. We talk about developing deep relationships, and that doesn't happen overnight. So we're really excited about the incoming class. Mostly I'm excited about seeing our upperclassmen and how they do with teaching them about the culture of our locker room and how we do things. Culture is what you celebrate, what you tolerate, and whether you're consistent or not. And so I'm just looking to see a consistent group of upperclassmen and coaches bringing guys into a culture that's healthy and that's aggressively competitive and hungry to win.
Does that match what you guys think too? Or do you have special plans for those first-year players?
No, there's no, just help them.
Careful on that.
Just build them up always. they're new. They're trying to learn all the plays and stuff on offense. So always help them as much as you can.
And a lot of players, help out in the recruiting process. Like we eat lunch with them, get their phone numbers. And, I've talked to numerous amount of the guys coming in, and it's funny. One of the first things I tell them, like, if you don't want to compete, and get after it, like, this isn't the place for you.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing is seeing if they're, if they're living that life, and taking their word for it. So just the biggest thing is, getting them in the locker room, getting to know them, and getting after it together.
Michael, you're from Arizona. You gave us a little bit of the backstory on how you weren't playing football for a few years. Talked to Coach Daberkow, but you found somehow Seward, Nebraska, and Concordia. Could you kind of elaborate a little bit more on that journey? I guess Arizona to Nebraska. And is it colder up here? In fact,
just a little bit. Just a little bit. No. I was actually born in Omaha, and I have a brother that goes to Creighton and a brother that goes to University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Small town Midwest football. I remember driving in there and eating lunch on the cafe, at Seward, and I just fell in love with it. There's nothing better than small town college football. So that was a big thing. I wanted to come back to Nebraska to be close to my brothers, and I love the Midwest. I like the cold. I like the fall. You don't really have that in Arizona, but I fell in love with Seward immediately and Concordia.
So DJ, what brought you to Concordia?
Obviously the football program. Then my sister played softball here for 4 years, so kind of just went with her. She was always like my main person to go to competition-wise and everything else. So just bring that competitive factor as a family here probably just made us even closer than we were before.
Yeah, that's cool.
Do you guys do a lot of goals preseason, or does that kind of just come naturally, or how do you look at that? Expectations, maybe it would be another way.
Well, we talk about goals and expectations all the time. I think it's a daily thing. A lot of setting goals is complicated, right? Because you can set whatever goal you want, but at the end of the day, like, the intention of your brain and the direction of your feet have to be heading the same place. And so we want to make sure our feet are going A, in the same direction, and B, to the same spot on a daily basis. With you got to zoom in and look at things in a micro level. Like, if we're serious about winning games, what do our team meetings look like? What do our weight training sessions look like? How do we condition? Are our fastest guys finishing first, or are they lagging behind? I think it's intention and direction are some things that we talk about, and we have some goals for this season that we've talked about as a team in the locker room during spring ball. And as a coaching staff, we just want to see those goals being lived out on a daily basis at the micro level. And I think that these guys, and I wish I could bring our whole group of upperclassmen, to media day and things like that, because we have a great group in the locker room that's putting the work in to attain the goals we've set.
Kind of detail to what you guys the work you guys put in the off season to get ready for this season. Just kind of what you guys do on an individual. I mean, I guess how many team stuff do you participate in from I guess December to July, and what do you guys do on an individual basis?
Well, we have to, from a team workout standpoint, we put in a lot of weight room hours, especially between the start of spring semester in January to when we start spring ball in April. And then we have our 15 spring ball practices, and then we send them off for the summer with the conditioning and weight training packet. And we get together and throw at least once a week during the summer. And then August rolls around, it goes pretty quick. But you guys can maybe attest to the individuals.
Like he was saying, we're always throwing at least once a week. Then there's a group of us that would go out. We have a group chat going, and we just text in that group chat, like, the people around Concordia, and we'll just hit the field whenever anyone's free and everything. And we try to live together and do everything as a team in that group. So we just always try to throw and always get better on route timing and everything.
I was going to ask, as far as the offense, people saw the numbers that Corral Colmoose had, but you have two really talented guys like Jablonski and Luke Lang that had great years. What's the rapport like that you've developed with those guys, and they're two guys that used to play quarterback too.
Yeah, so coming in my freshman year, Luke Lang was ahead of me on the quarterback list, and we got to know each other very well on that. And that same thing for Austin Jablonski. We got super close, competing against each other. And when he moved to wide receiver, we kept that relationship. We always been talking since then. Me and Luke Lang always talk. We used to play a bunch of video games against each other, just get that competitive factor always with us. So very excited for the upcoming season with the wide receiver group.
It's going to be interesting having them at wingback in the flex bone offense that we're going to run this fall.
Yeah.
Curious to see how they handle that move.
We should have a whiteboard or something to draw up some plays.
Our first play against Northwestern.
So you didn't get a chance to talk about your off season, Michael.
I think the biggest thing about the off season is we're together a lot. From December, early January to that April time, where spring ball starts. A lot of weight room hours, a lot of training hours. We get after it. We really do get after it. And there's a lot of. I think that the coach talked about the competitive culture that we're trying to build. A lot of that happens in the weight room in the off season. And now over the summer, we're we all try to stay in contact the best we can. People are out of state or people are working long hours. But for me personally, it's always being around the game, and watching film and training on the field and stuff like that.
Anything else?
So who's your first opponent?
Northwestern.
And is that Labor Day weekend or
September
the weekend
2nd.
Labor Day weekend. So what do you hope to see the team accomplish that first game? I mean, I know first game, you never know what's going to happen, but what would you like to see?
We'd like to win the kickoff.
Cool. I'd just like to see the win.
Yeah, it kind of goes
with the little things, right?
Yeah. Kind of goes back to just doing the simple things right.
Are these guys calling it?
Possibly. I don't know. We haven't decided
To
yet.
find who's the luckiest one?
Yeah.
Put in the hours, flipping coins,
Yeah,
testing them.
exactly. See who's the best, and then that's who yeah. Your honorary captain. So, speaking of captains, how do you decide who the captains are on your team?
So we have a leadership council that we vote on, that our guys vote on for each position group. That's kind of our captain group, and a contingent of that goes out for coin toss every Saturday.
Okay.
That and seniors.
Okay. I'm always curious because
Yeah.
I never know. I never got to be a captain, so apparently I wasn't cool enough or whatever.
What's your guys' favorite away stadium in the GPAC? What's the one you like from the? You got
Jamestown.
an answer. Jamestown. The trip. The trip is enough.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be.
Is there a field
Good
that's
bonding
I mean,
moments,
Concordia,
right?
I think, is the coolest in the conference. That's
I agree.
just that. But
I agree to that.
if there's one that's man, it'd be cool to play here too. Is there anything that jumps out at you guys, or somewhere that you've been before, maybe high school? Yeah.
Memorial Stadium's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I've never played this team in high school, but I heard Central with the field looking over the city. I always wanted to play there at night just to see everything, but I never got to. So I wish I would have been able to do that. Nice little Friday night lights over Omaha City.
Yeah.